Hi there, it's Kim and Kelly from One More Thing, Special Needs Parents Group here in Ottawa, Canada. We are filming today to discuss the issue of the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And one of the precipitating discussion pieces that we had come up is it enough? Have we done enough? That is a constant question whenever we're looking at the care of our children. Kelly, we were talking about looking at changes. You said change is, what was the quote about change that you just had?
Change is the only constant in our life.
Exactly.
Everything's always changing.
Yes.
Change is hard for a lot of people, and yet it's the only thing we know for certain is going to happen. Things are going to change.
Right.
And so how do you navigate those changes? How do you ride that wave when they're happening to you? And then when do you have the time and the space and the energy to make a change based on what you are hoping is a good decision or the right decision for your child? Do you stay with the devil you know, or do you go with the devil you don't?
Right. So one of the things that I keep thinking about whenever we're talking about that is, on the medical trajectory, I hate that word, by the way. It drives me crazy, and yet on the timeline of our lives, we have our children start off. Let's talk about wheelchairs, right? We need to change the wheelchair that they use. We know that that's going to come up, and sometimes we even look at something that's a cutting edge, and we kind of sit there and say, oh, that would be really cool. I think it would be great for them. But then comes all the secondary thinking. Do I have the energy to go after the research for this? Even if I research it, will there be a professional who will support my ideas and work with me? And do I have the energy to do it?
Yes, that's a big factor.
That is a huge factor, right? All of those steps is about a parent's energy to be able to pursue asking for change. And so whenever we get into those positions, you're right, it's a big load to even think about change, let alone asking for it.
Exactly. It is, even in the description of the wheelchair changes, I think my son has had, I think he's on his fourth or his fifth chair. He's pretty hard on wheelchairs. And in that journey, we've had some really great chairs and some really great experiences. And we've had some really crappy chairs that keep conking out, and, the engines don't, or the motors don't work, and we're calling technicians. And when we had that one lemon, every decision after that regarding chairs has now become anxiety provoking. How much more money am I going to have to invest in that? What vendor do I go with? Who's going to give me the support that I need if it does break down? How am I going to make sure that this child has what he needs in the timeline that he needs it? Like, it's just, change is constant. And so, some of the decisions that you make along the way are not going to be yours. He grew, he needs a new chair. Other times, though, when you're thinking about, is this working as best as it can? And you're thinking maybe it's not, and you're anticipating requesting a change in vendors, a change in doctors, a change in school,
a change in EAs. Yes.
The work that you need to put into making those decisions is hard work. And then you're always left wondering, is it going to be better or worse? And how am I going to manage that? How am I going to manage it if it's worse?
Well, you and your child are the only ones that are going to be on the other side of the outcome.
That's right.
It's not going to impact the vendor. It's not going to impact the school. It's not going to impact any of those professionals who are surrounding our families for supporting us. It's you and your child. And then if we just drop it back even, it's you, the parent, who tends to navigate a lot of that until your child is an adult and can do it themselves.
Exactly.
That's a lot of work.
It's already a roller coaster that we're on. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's a roller coaster of experiences. It's life. It's a roller coaster. And, that climb up to the top of the peak there it's exciting sometimes, you know, the idea that you might change something and it'll be better for your child, or you might change something and it'll be a better circumstance for you. And then you get to the top, and just before that moment when you go over the edge, you think, oh my God, have I done the right thing here? Too late, you're going down. And so it's a little bit about how do we prepare ourselves, or how do we assess for ourselves whether or not we're ready to push for that change, how hard we'll push for that change. If the change is happening to us, how will I ride this out?
Mm-hmm.
It's connected, I think, a lot of times to the notion of, am I doing enough for my child?
Always.
But also, have I built enough support in my life for me and enough time for me to be able to navigate this change? And I know I've made choices in my son's care over the years that I know I made the choice at the time because I didn't have enough energy to fight that battle or to make that change. And I look back on those now, and sometimes I regret that I didn't do something sooner. But I just have to forgive myself and move on because I didn't have the energy at the time.
I know that in the group, there's often the conversation. I call it the ebbs and flows of parenting a special needs child, which I think is part of what we're talking about right now. Is that we rise up and we have the energy to make change or work at something, and then there's this whole other part where we have to pull back and just recover and shelve something for a while. There's a lot of feelings that go in that too, right? When you have to pull back, sometimes it feels very defeated, just exhausted, unsupported, because you're searching outside of your circle, right, to get that support. What I would like to get to, Kelly, is 3 and 3 things that families can do to monitor or support themselves as they look at change, and 3 things that the professional who's watching this video today can take away about supporting families.
I think my first suggestion for any parents in this position of having to manage a big change or manage a small change that has big impact in your life is to take time to take care of yourself. Take time, forgive yourself, go easy on yourself. There's a lot of things that are not in your control, and you just have to let go of those things sometimes, but make sure that you've got support and that you are recognizing that you will need somebody else to hold you up sometimes. I know that's really hard because we've had another conversation around asking for help.
Yes.
And I'm not good at that. But working on it. Another thing for parents, is just recognize that change is constant. It's coming one way or another. Your child will grow. They'll outgrow something. You'll have a great teacher this year. You'll have a really not so great teacher next year. And maybe do a bit of thinking around how you want to handle those situations. How will you build your toolbox? I think part of that is connecting to other parents, like in the OMT group, around how did you manage with this change? Because there's a generation of people before you.
Absolutely. There's always somebody that's come before you, and there's always somebody coming up behind you as well, right? So reaching forward for help and information, and also reaching back to lend some of that information is amazing. A method of support for OMT, for any group that's out there that's supporting like-minded persons. That's a great way. Now, for the professionals who are watching this video and taking interest in this experience, what do they need to know about parents and all of these decisions that they've had to make?
I think that's the first thing, is recognizing that the decision you're asking me to make right now is one of a million decisions I make in a day to try and do what is best for my child.
Yeah.
It is an important decision to you as a professional, and it's probably a very important decision for us as a family and for me as a parent for my child, but it is not the only decision. And the responsibility of it lies with me. You as the professional are making your recommendation. You think this is what needs to happen, but I have to live with it. I have to with it.
We really need the empathy of the people that are there, not the sympathy.
No.
No, I need you to put yourself in this position and imagine just what this is like so that we can make the best decision together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing I would want the professionals to understand is sometimes I need time to process those decisions. I know you've been thinking about it. I know it's in your plan and it's according to your schedule, but I might need some time to think about this, and I might need to question you on it more than once, because I can't always think of everything I need to know in the minute where this opportunity or this decision needs to be made. I might need time to process that, and I'm not being resistant. I'm not being difficult. I just might need more time to process.
I really like that. I think we're going to follow up with a new video about that as well, time to process. And that's a personal self-advocacy piece that I think a lot of families would benefit from practicing, is saying, yes, I understand. Let's follow that up in half an hour. Book me in for the next appointment and we'll have a decision by then. Or, you know, taking the space to just pause everything so that you have the time to make a decision wherever that's possible.
Yep, right? Exactly. A lot of the times the decisions are made or the change is happening without a whole lot of control. You know, your teachers are changing, your EAs are changing, your vendors are changing. That's all happened to me in the last year. And so, not me, it's happened to us as a family. But it's how those professionals recognize the impact. Like, you need to give me a minute here.
Right.
These are big changes for us. Changing a teacher in a school, not a big deal to the institution as a whole. To us, it is a significant.
Yes. Yes.
So wanting them to understand that little changes for them could be huge changes for us. Absolutely.
Yes. And that's a conversation that needs to be worked through, not just, oh, well, you know, this is just how it is. We can't do anything about it. Even if you just take the time to talk with me about it and empathize with me in those moments about the bigger picture of what isn't going to help us about this change because it's, you know, bureaucratic or something, that just helps me cope as well. Being heard, feeling heard.
Feeling heard for sure.
Yeah. So if you have comments or anything that relates to what we've just discussed tonight, please leave them in the comments section. Share this video with those who would like to have this discussion as well, and encourage them to put comments in the comments section. Kelly, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we will be back with more videos in the future. Take care. OMT, One More Thing Facebook group. Bye.
Bye.